check me good. You on the camera? I got a gun in my nut. Check me good. I got a gun. All right, y'all let me in that car. Shoot myself dead. Y'all fire. Sue all that.
He was convicted on his charges. He's not facing light time. He's facing life in prison. Now, last time I reported on this story, we had little info about the man he's accused of murdering, beyond that he was an aspiring rap artist signed to his label.
Why file this right now? Let's just start there, the timing of it.
Jesse, great to be on as always, and I guess better late than never when it comes to the Department of Justice. But really, 1 month before trial is
building his 4PF empire, a collective that became more than just a record label, but a symbol of overcoming adversity, a beacon of hope for many. His journey from the streets of Atlanta seemed like the ultimate rags to riches tale, a testament to talent meeting opportunity. But beneath the glittering veneer of diamond chains and sold-out arenas, a storm was gathering. Dark clouds that hinted at unresolved shadows from a past he thought he had escaped. Whispers of legal entanglements, long simmering tensions tied to the very streets that forged his artistry were always present, but few could have predicted the devastating magnitude of what was to come. The legal troubles that had long brewed beneath the surface, specifically concerning federal gun charges and persistent allegations under the complex umbrella of RICO statutes, suddenly erupted, engulfing his carefully constructed world in a maelstrom of courtroom drama and public scrutiny. It was a stark, brutal reminder that sometimes the past isn't just prologue. It's an unyielding force that can reclaim you when you least expect it, pulling you back into the very life you
Y'all be thinking that things like Snapchat and Instagram disappearing mode, those things are Fed proof. They're not Fed proof at all, bro. Being a criminal is so hard nowadays, bro. The messages that quote unquote disappeared on Instagram for you is still being hosted. And they was able to pull the messages that was sent in disappearing mode, self-snitching, and use it to indict them on a RICO. Oh my. Yo, the streets is cold, bro.
And this is what's coming up now is already admitted into evidence. Is this the message that was sent?
Fought so hard to leave behind. The contrast was jarring, heartbreaking for fans who had celebrated his every victory. The man whose lyrics often spoke of street realities was now facing those realities not from a distance of fame, but from the unforgiving grip of the justice system. The tragic incident that irrevocably altered the course of Lil Baby's life and career centered around the senseless deaths of two innocent 13-year-olds. This heartbreaking event wasn't random. According to the narrative laid out by prosecutors, it was a direct, devastating consequence of a cycle of violence, a retaliatory act allegedly sparked by something seemingly trivial in the grand scheme of the music world, a music video shoot. Location of this shoot, allegedly in territory considered rival ground by groups linked to Lil Baby's 4PF collective, became the tinder that ignited a fatal fire. This wasn't just about territorial pride or artistic expression gone wrong. It was presented as a direct provocation that demanded a violent response, according to the prosecution's theory. The double homicide of those two—
And that's, so that was Martavius Smith sent that to Mr. Sanders.
He did.
All right, now, what was significant about that to you?
I knew that Jay Shot was, or John Smith was a close associate of the leader of 4PF, Dominique Lil Baby Jones.
And 4PF, as you testified already, was a gang that you recognized as being in a rivalry with the Goodfellas, and in particular, the only My Family subset of the Goodfellas.
And their associates, yes.
Young lives became the grim focal point, the terrible catalyst that shifted the legal gears from low-level concerns to a full-blown federal investigation, thrusting Lil Baby from a successful artist with street ties into the crosshairs of law enforcement as a central figure of interest in a major criminal enterprise linked to extreme violence. It was a turning point so sharp and so devastating it felt like watching a high-speed train derail in slow motion, the initial spark of the music video shoot leading to an unimaginable catastrophe with wide-reaching consequences. Following the horrific deaths of the two teenagers, an extensive and relentless federal investigation was launched, employing sophisticated surveillance techniques aimed at unraveling the complex web of connections and alleged criminal activities. This wasn't a brief inquiry. It spanned months, then Years, a deep dive into the lives and communications of those suspected of being involved. Federal agents utilized every tool at their disposal. Wiretaps became a crucial component, capturing countless hours of conversations, hoping to intercept direct.
Atlanta police are blaming a local rapper's music video for the deaths of two 13-year-olds and a $50,000
orders, incriminating discussions, or confirmations of involvement. Social media, the very platforms that helped propel Lil Baby to global fame, became a double-edged sword, scrutinized for posts, photos, and interactions that could be interpreted as gang-related communication, threats, or evidence of criminal coordination. Every digital footprint was examined, every comment, every shared image, every private message, even messages sent using features designed for temporary existence like disappearing mode on platforms like Instagram were reportedly retrieved and presented as evidence, shattering any illusion of digital privacy when caught in the dragnet of a federal probe. These efforts were not simply about monitoring. They were meticulously designed to build a case that would tie Lil Baby directly to orchestrating gang-related activities, shifting the legal narrative from him being merely a figurehead associated with a group that might have criminal elements to him being a key operator, a central figure in the alleged criminal enterprise responsible for the cycle of violence that culminated in the deaths of the two boys. The pressure mounted,
for which he had absolutely no involvement, is unprofessional, unethical, and shameful, end quote. It continued to say, he is devastated about the situation because the teens came from his neighborhood. But a warrant paints a different picture, saying an ongoing dispute between the 4PF gang and the OMF gang eventually led to the fatal shooting of Freeman and Davis. According to documents, Lil Baby is an affiliate of 4PF, and the conflict starts in May 2024 when the rapper shot a music video in rival territory.
Steadily, a tightening net woven from digital threads and intercepted words. Then came the moment that sent shockwaves through the courtroom and the entire hip-hop world, the testimony of Lil Durk, an influential rapper in his own right, and for years, a close ally and collaborator of Lil Baby Durk's appearance on the witness stand was unprecedented and for many, a shocking betrayal. The narrative presented was that Durk, allegedly facing his own significant legal peril, was pressured into cooperating with the prosecution. His testimony, according to reports from the trial, was devastatingly direct. He reportedly implicated Lil Baby directly, linking him to orchestrating the violence that ultimately led to the tragic deaths of the two 13-year-olds. Imagine the tension in that room, the weight of years of friendship and collaboration colliding with the stark reality of a courtroom and the fight for freedom, Durk's words, coming from someone so deeply connected to Lil Baby, were presented as providing crucial, chilling context to the other evidence the prosecution had gathered, wiretap recordings that might have seemed
and they're going to include you as a gang leader and say that you are the catalyst for a gang war that had nothing to do with you. This, these people cold, man.
All right. So the music video, is that something that you've seen?
It is.
Where'd you see it?
I believe it was on the YouTube account belonging to Mr. Smith.
All right, and permission to publish a brief clip of that video, Your Honor?
Granted.
All right.
We're gonna play a video.
Investigator Viverito, if you'll look at the, there we go, at the monitor in front of you. Is this the music video that you were referring to?
I'd have to see the title of it.
This beat go crazy.
J Shot Who Want Problems music video?
Yes, that's the one I'm referring to.
All right. And there are certain shots of this video that are at the 1043 Spark.
Ambiguous suddenly took on a sinister new meaning, and when interpreted through the lens of Durk's alleged insider knowledge. Social media posts and lyrics, previously framed as artistic expression, were now potentially seen as literal instructions or boasts about criminal acts. The prosecution seized on every piece of evidence, weaving a compelling, albeit controversial narrative that blurred the lines between art and life. Lil Baby's rap lyrics and social media presence, the very tools that built his fame and fortune, were weaponized against him. Prosecutors argued that his rhymes weren't just stories stories or metaphors, but blueprints for criminals' acts, chronicling and even glorifying the very violence he was accused of orchestrating. Social media messages, even fleeting ones, were presented as coded communications or direct orders. Dirk's testimony added a horrifying depth to this interpretation. His alleged words in court provided context to the wiretap recordings, explaining coded language, confirming associations, and painting a vivid, damning picture for the jury or judge. It deepened the court's perception of guilt, transforming the
stand for more than 2 hours. She testified that investigators used social media posts and wiretaps to determine that the 7 defendants are members or associates of the Goodfellas criminal street gang. Police say the shooting stemmed from a gang war sparked by rapper Lil Baby, who they claim is affiliated with the rival criminal street gang 4PF. Last May, police say the hip-hop superstar filmed a music video in their territory and multiple people were shot.
I'm not gonna lie, this is absurdity to heights I've never seen before. They're doing all of this, claiming that a gang war was started because Lil Baby filmed a music video in the ops territory. Now, I'll be real. Do I believe that Lil Baby should have been more responsible? Because, like, the optics of you being a multi-millionaire coming to these people's neighborhood in your multi-million-dollar bulletproof trucks, bringing a lot of chaos there and then leaving to go to your mansion, the optics is horrible, bro. But to paint it as this man started a gang war and he has to be held responsible for it, it's kind of like, bro, like, come on, bro.
Which investigators say sparked the
image of a celebrated artist into that of a cold, calculating figure at the center of a violent criminal enterprise. It felt like a scene ripped from a movie script, but the consequences were tragically real. The weight of evidence building brick by brick, each piece contributing to an increasingly grim outlook for the defendant. The courtroom atmosphere grew thick with tension as the trial reached its emotional climax. Every witness, every piece of evidence, every legal argument seemed to build towards an inevitable conclusion. The appearance of Lil Durk on the stand was undeniably a pivotal moment, adding a layer of personal drama and perceived betrayal that resonated deeply. The subsequent testimonies, the painstaking analysis of wiretap recordings played for the court, the dissection of social media posts and lyrical content all contributed to the prosecution's relentless portrayal of Lil Baby. He wasn't just being painted as an artist whose background included street ties. He was being depicted as a key operator, a central command figure in a network of gang retaliation, directly responsible for setting in motion the events that led to the senseless deaths of—
Why should I get searched, right? So I spun back around. So everybody else spun back around me. We went towards Chelsea, West Side Highway, right? Hip-hop police was so crazy, bro. Every car got pulled over simultaneously. Every car went a different direction. Every car got pulled over simultaneously. I got pulled over on the west side. My friends got pulled over here. They got pulled over here. They got hit. They're watching, bro. They're watching.
The two young boys. The prosecution's closing arguments were reportedly powerful, tying together all the threads of their case, leaving little room for doubt in the minds of those present. And then came the verdict, followed swiftly by the sentencing. The initial federal gun charge carried a potential sentence of up to 20 years, a severe punishment, but one that still offered a possibility of release in the future. However, the prosecution's success in connecting him directly to the double homicide through the RICO allegations and the weight of the accumulated evidence significantly influenced, reports suggest by the alleged testimony of Lil Durk, elevated the stakes exponentially. The legal outcome escalated dramatically, the potential 20 years ballooning into a life sentence. The pronouncement of the life sentence landed like a physical blow, silencing the courtroom and sending ripples of disbelief throughout the world watching this saga unfold. It was a stunning, absolute conclusion to a case that had captivated and horrified in equal measure. In the hushed moments after the sentence was delivered, with the weight of a lifetime behind bars descending—
You know what's crazy also, and this news just broke today, and once again, innocent until proven guilty, but they're saying that the new target of the DA in Atlanta is actually Lil Baby in 4 Pockets Full. And there was a clip that's circulating.
Vlad, what do you, if you got black dudes, right? Black niggas with money, right? And we in the neighborhood, right? We come from the bottom of the bottom. We from the neighborhood that we not
upon him. Lil Baby reportedly had the opportunity to speak. His final words in court, delivered perhaps with a mixture of shock and profound sorrow, were a stark contrast to the confident persona he projected on stage and in his music. He reportedly expressed deep sorrow for the tragic events that had transpired, and for all those who had been affected, particularly the families of the two young victims whose lives were so senselessly cut short. It was a moment of raw humanity, a public figure stripped bare of his fame and forced to confront the devastating consequences of the case. He lamented how his life, once soaring to unimaginable heights through his music career, had culminated in such a tragic and final outcome. His farewell was undoubtedly emotional, a poignant acknowledgement of the responsibility the court had placed upon him, while perhaps also expressing a profound disbelief at the severity and finality of the outcome. The transition from global icon to inmate sentenced for life felt unfathomable, even to him. I never thought, never in my worst nightmares, that it would end like this.
And Dirty Tay, and they killed another person like Jaquan Wilson, right?
Okay.
But then here's the thing though. Keontae Davis was forced to testify because again, this could have just been the 4PF Nate murder, but they actually turned it into a gang case and they forced Keontae Davis to testify that 4PF is a gang.
One can imagine the thoughts swirling, the crushing realization of a future stolen, a legacy forever altered by the events that led him to this moment. My music was supposed to be my escape, my way to change things, for me, for my family, for the people I came up with. And now it feels like it brought me right back here, but this time, there's no coming back. The weight of that finality, the knowledge that his freedom, his career, his entire future had been irrevocably lost, must have been an unbearable burden in those moments. I'm sorry, truly sorry, for the pain, for the loss, he might have whispered, the public apology feeling insufficient against the enormity of the tragedy and the sentence. I didn't see this coming. Not like this. That sense of shock, of disbelief at the final curtain call on his freedom was palpable. A chilling end to a story that began with such promise. Looking back at the trajectory of this case, several stark insights emerge, offering a grim lesson on the intertwining of street life, fame, and the long reach of
did something that resulted in death. But apparently it's the other group did something and the police are trying to blame him. Another important thing to take out of this is audio came out from, what was it, the DA, the prosecutor? So she dropped audio basically saying that Lil Baby had money on people's heads. But
well, hold on. It's not Lil Baby saying it. It's two other people talking about
the law. The most striking, perhaps, is the dramatic escalation from a potential 20-year sentence for a federal gun charge to a life sentence. This wasn't a minor addition. It was a complete transformation of the legal jeopardy he faced. It powerfully illustrates how severe legal outcomes can evolve, snowballing rapidly when initial charges become linked to more serious allegations, particularly those involving organized criminal activity like RICO, and especially when connected to tragic violent crimes like a double homicide. The added weight of gang-related evidence and testimony like the alleged cooperation of Lil Durk can fundamentally alter the landscape of a case, turning a potentially lengthy sentence into an inescapable one. Another significant insight is the role a single public act played in triggering this multi-year legal battle. The narrative presented suggests that a seemingly simple decision, shooting a music video in a particular location deemed provocative by rival groups, became the spark that ignited a destructive cycle of retaliatory violence. This cycle in turn drew the intense scrutiny
prosecutors did. They tacked on gang charges on top of the murder. And they did that specifically to tie this for PF. It's a pattern here. Whenever a shooting or act of violence happens, it's not enough to just charge the person with the crime individually. No, they tack on gang charges. So it can be on record that this murder was done under 4PF's behalf to further the game. And Keontae Davis was used by the prosecutor to identify 4PF as a gang
of federal investigators, leading to months and eventually years of surveillance and investigation. It's a potent cautionary tale about how actions taken in the public eye, especially within contexts already fraught with underlying tensions, can have incredibly wide-reaching and devastating legal implications that extend far beyond the initial act itself. The making of a few minutes of visual content ultimately set in motion a chain of events that led to tragedy and a lifetime behind bars. Finally, the case case underscores the undeniable power of digital footprints as key evidence in modern criminal investigations. The detail that messages sent even in disappearing mode were reportedly retrieved and used in court is particularly revealing. Serves as a stark reminder that in the digital age, the concept of true privacy is increasingly elusive, especially when law enforcement employs advanced forensic techniques. Any communication, any image, any interaction conducted through digital means can potentially be recovered and presented as evidence, debunking any lingering myths about the ephemeral nature of online interactions in serious
of being officially indicted for a RICO. The catalyst for the criminal complaint to get them off the streets, bring them in, and officially work on a RICO was the deaths of these two young men, Jack Bodie Davis and Lamont Freeman, two 13-year-olds that was tragically killed when Goodfellas attempted to spin the block on 4PF, Lil Baby's group. A lot of this you already heard before, but we're just recapping so we can get to the bombshell that dropped today. Trust me, it's bombshells that dropped today. So, Atlanta PD blamed Lil Baby for this. It said,
criminal cases. Your digital life is not a separate reality. It is intricately linked to your physical one, and every keystroke, every message, every post can potentially be a piece of the puzzle for investigators, a piece that could be used to build a case against you. The story of Lil Baby's rise and falls, presented through this dramatic narrative, is a complex tapestry woven with threads of ambition, success, loyalty, betrayal, violence, and tragedy. It is a story that began on the streets, ascended to global fame, and ended in the confines of a courtroom, a stark reminder of the potential consequences when the past collides with the present, and when the lines between artistic expression and alleged criminal activity become blurred in the eyes of the law. The outcome is undeniably devastating, leaving behind a void in the music world and countless questions about the circumstances that led to such a final conclusion. If you want to stay updated on the most shocking stories unfolding in the world of music and beyond, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel right now and hit that notification bell while Lil Baby
didn't say that. But that's not the question that he asked at the time. I'm not asking what
Mr. Stillwell thought. But Rito the Vixen don't even pretend to be a credible source. So the fact that they're now using her to indict Lil Baby, it's kind of like, bruh. Really, bruh? Now, she's at the key of this, by the way. Like, she's the one who is testifying that Lil Baby is a gang leader. Lil Baby, is the gang leader of 4PF. He's the one who started this gang war. Lil Baby got money on people's heads. And apparently they done bought.
Dominic Jones wanted to have people harmed.
Correct.
All right, moving on.
To me, this is nonsense and BS, bruh. Ops being paranoid because they are out here harming people who are close to me, being paranoid that me, the bagman, me, the rich rapper, may have some money on their heads because they're doing foul things. That's y'all proof that I'm involved in this gang war? That's y'all proof that I should be brought in for a RICO?
That surprises everybody. So we need to get some clarity from you. Okay, so can you listen really carefully to what his question is and answer that question? And then if your answer is still the same, we need to ask some follow-up of you. Okay, go ahead.
In the songs that we reviewed, Mr. Stillwell claimed to have beat a homicide, correct? Or
Correct.
beat a murder rap, beat a homicide.
Correct.
Okay.
And if they're about to play the call, but her conclusions and her interpretation is not the evidence.
Well, I think she was just identifying who was on the call, so I'm going to overrule. Go ahead.
Okay.
Oh, what's up, huh? Oh, what's going on? Man, them folks, like, come on, bro, you know what's finna go on. Like, how the hell you can, you know what I'm saying? They ain't even like that, man. Them folks got tickets on a lot of these folks, I'm telling you.
We just heard somebody say these folks got tickets on